Now, ladies and gentlemen, even though this episode that I'm filming right now should be titled just the intro to school reviews with NJ to the city. If you didn't hear me correctly, I said this episode should be titled School Reviews with NJ to the city. But probably not. We'll see. I don't know. All I can definitely say is that I'm still back on that topic of school reviews, because another key note of almost every school review that I read is that you'd be amazed how many people think that the school that they're at is the worst school imaginable, which is one of the reviews that I'm reading right now on my phone says, worst school imaginable. You'd be amazed how many reviews I read where that's exactly what the student or the parent or the community member or the teacher is saying, worst school imaginable. And the way I look at it, trust me, no, that's not the worst school imaginable. Trust me, there's a lot of schools that's just as worse or even way worse. Just saying, your school is one out of God knows how many out there in the country and in the world that is just terrible, awful, failing, and needs a complete rehab job. That needs complete rehab. They need a cleanup from the top to the bottom, or at least just a cleanup from the top. Because like I say, it's amazing how many, like I say, principles and such you read about on these reviews. And even regardless whether you're reading about on the reviews, you can see at your own school how many principals are not as engaged in everything as they should be. I mean, God bless principals, but again, there's definitely a deeper job to do than just make rules here, make rules there, etc., etc. I'm not trying to discredit principals at all. God bless principals, of schools. But as well, I know if I was a principal of a school, one of the top things I would do is I don't think any principals actually read these school reviews, and I don't think anybody at the district's office reads these school reviews. I don't think anybody does. I don't think anybody at any board of education reads these reads these school reviews. But again, I do. I'm the ambassador, and many more positive God first. 116 unashamed things towards our schools, our communities, and all around health, wealth, youth, and prosperity for all. Jesus is above all. When you are spiritually saved, in words, what it means to ball, as love and faith conquers all. Everything I just said is, again, a big part of my morals and what I believe in, and things, you could say things / the swagger of which I carry with myself every single day. And try the best I can to perfect it and to craft it, continuously keep adjusting and owning it. But here's what one of the reviews says, and this probably will just be titled Intro to School Reviews with NJ to the City. Again, this is more focuses on stuff like, again, cleaning up our schools, and a lot of people, one of the top things I want y'all to realize, that's one of the top things that this is more has to do with, and higher morals. Again, pretty much coincide with each other, but you get the point, cleaning up our schools, especially private schools too, as well. You'd be amazed how many private schools, who I haven't researched a lot of them, but you'd be amazed how many of even them are not doing their jobs. I was just reading a review, private school review, 30 minutes ago to an hour ago, from this player on UF's softball team, right? UF's softball team. I looked up her profile, I looked up the roster, and it said her high school, didn't know it was a private school, but I knew that it was interesting because she was from St. Petersburg. Never been to St. Petersburg a day in my life, I don't think so, but still, Shag, I was St. Petersburg. And so what I did was I looked up the school, by God's grace, thank you Jesus that I looked it up, because, again, it's a private school, and even that private school, again, some of the reviews you would think are fabricated by certain people to make the school look like it's actually doing well, but you can tell some of these reviews are completely fabricated and don't really mean what they should when it comes to trying to make it seem like it's not as bad as what it actually is. But I looked up the school, and next thing I knew, I saw a lot of stuff that, again, breeds corruption, a lot of things that breed, like, are you kidding me? Oh, and one of the reviews, if I can pull it back up on my phone, I don't know when I'm actually going to start saying the school's names on these videos, but I can assure you, one of the top things it was saying was about how, like, the school was just teaching kids to memorize things not to actually keep it for the long haul. It was just to memorize things for the test, and then after that, you can just forget it. I'm pretty sure I can pull that review back up. Hold up. I'm looking forward. I know it's here somewhere. Well, here's one of the things. It says the graduating class ends up going to local universities in the area. Only about 2 to 3 students per graduating class end up going to top universities. When you go and look at the school yearbooks, my phone has a little bit of a crack in its screen, so some of these words kind of chopped up a little bit. When you go and look at the school yearbooks, you will see where each of the graduates are going 90% local universities in Florida. That doesn't say much. And especially if it's a private school, I hate to say it, but that literally is like, especially if you go to private schools, I would definitely assume that, at least from my visions of outside looking in, I've been to private schools before, but I can assure you from my vision outside looking in, with private schools, I can assure you, I've always thought that private school had everything when it comes to, and I mean everything under control when it comes to, there's barely any bullying, barely any of that, if any, by the way, barely any, if any, of that. I'm not going to speak about the drugs and alcohol, because I definitely don't think that is, that has its own little subject there with them. I definitely thought, especially with Christian private schools, religious private schools, I definitely thought that if not everybody, at least 80% or 60% had good morals and values. Especially in religious private schools. That's one of the top things I can assure you that I've always thought with religious private schools is that 60 or to 80%, hopefully, not because I'm not going to say everybody there cares, about living up, but definitely 60 to 80%. I assumed with private schools, religiously that is, you had good morals, values, and integrity. Like the entire character counts thing, I have always thought that's something that is you're actively living up to every day. But it's obviously been spoken out plenty of times that just because you go to religious private school doesn't mean that you do have good moral character and integrity and discipline and respect. Not to say I've read a ton of reviews on it, but I think anybody out there, or a lot of people out there probably would agree with me. Just because you go to a religious private school doesn't mean everybody there is heavily religious or, have good morals, good discipline, good values, and stuff like that. But it's just I've always had that perception from the outside looking in that, yes, you go to religious private school, you have great grades, great moral character, great moral integrity, you hopefully don't drink or smoke, and bullying is definitely not a factor there. Those are some things that and definitely, if not everybody, a majority of everybody loves each other and cares and is genuine and sweet and happy and nice and spontaneous. Those are things that I've definitely thought from definitely religious private schools, and so forth and so forth. But you'd be amazed how many people will tell you across the board that's not it at all. That in many cases, some of these private schools, if not all of them, but definitely, I would definitely say most of them, if, whichever ratio you want to put there, all, most, half, some, whichever, word you want to put in there to complete that ratio, it's amazing how many of them will openly tell you, no, this is just a money grab. This private school, that private school is just a money grab. And again, it makes me think to myself, what now? How is it? But then again, I've read some of these reviews, and I've definitely interviewed or I've talked to some of my friends that have went to private schools before, and they've definitely confirmed all that stuff. Again, it's not something that, like I say, is ever something to take pride in. It's something that's, again, you're something that I want to say is, again, negatively filthy and negatively disgusting to know that stuff still happens. Like, oh no, it's just a big money grab. Like, what now? Especially if you're religious private schools. I think they're definitely two different sets of standards to a certain degree with religious private schools, which is, versus just regular private schools. But I think it exists across the border that they definitely have some similarities when it comes to the fact being that, again, not everybody or even a majority of the people there still don't have good moral character and integrity, are still doing drugs and alcohol, still doing all bullying, hazing, harassment, all these, again, negative things that should have been abolished years ago. Because, again, you would think, at least for me, I would think that with private schools, and then especially religious private schools, all that would have been abolished from the get-go. And to know that it is not at times, if not most of the time abolished, I'm like, wow. It's amazing how many probably are exactly that, just a huge money grab. But here's what one of the reviews says about the private schools. Like I said, I'm probably just going to title this Intro to School Reviews. Because like I said, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, this is more. This is, again, part of this is more. Has everything to do with moral integrity, moral character, moral respect. Part of everything that This Is More has to do with. This Is More, again, is a sequel to Higher Morals, pretty much. And in many cases, again, everything that I preach in these videos is not hard, ladies and gentlemen. It's not hard whatsoever, at least if you were to ask me. It's not hard. The majority of everything I preach in these videos is something that you can probably look up thousands of sermons already and find. But I'm just doing them, again, from the comfort of my bedroom and so on and so forth, and enjoying every second of it and trying my best to represent myself in the best God first, 116 lights that I can within this, because, like I said, I know what's up. But here's what it says. It says, the school doesn't teach kids to think for themselves, how to think critically, and how to ask questions. They instead teach them to memorize information like robots for testing and forget it later. The kids are not taught to understand the information so they can retain it. Instead, you're giving information to memorize, take a test, and then later forget. The teaching in this school is like a factory line, no different from public school. Many kids in class, no individual attention I'm pretty sure this meant to say given to your child. Now, again, there's many problems within that. I think at pretty much every school definitely is like a factory line when it comes to, again, every year, you got graduating classes, but obviously in the way of which this review means factory line is in the most negative way possible. And I think the way a lot of our schools treat our kids, our youth, is like a factory line. Like I said before, there's plenty of schools where I'm thinking to myself, how in God's name did that school let you out of there? Because, whether it's high school, middle school, because there's so many kids, young adults, who are going into society left and right each and every day without a good, godly, Jesus Christ salvation moral compass to anything which they're doing. And then that's why you see all these cases of, at least if you were to ask me, of the words to describe it, of filth, pure nastiness, pure disgustingness, and you're thinking to yourself, wow, I thought that this right here would have ended up better. I thought this person knew better, thought better, definitely could have acted better, should have acted better, had the moral compass. But it's amazing how many of our schools are pushing us out left and right each and every year without a good, godly, Jesus Christ salvation moral compass. And that applies to both schools, public and private, if you were to ask me. Because you don't have to be in a Christian school to still leave that whatever school you're in with a good, godly, Jesus Christ salvation moral compass on how to move about your life, live your life, and again, continue to just spread beauty, peace, wisdom, creativity, and all that other real stuff. Again, it's something like I said before, by God's, humble mercy and grace, if they permit me to be a volunteer in whatever school I'm in, it doesn't matter. Public, private, it don't matter. I'll do what I can to the utmost, God, for strength and ability in my lungs and in my, bones and in my body, period, to own every day and to clean up whatever system I'm around, because this is more, ladies and gentlemen. This is more. God bless. Take care.